What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, about a week ago, I guess, maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that, I covered an article talking about Jack Smith winding down his cases against Donald Trump. And we was like, yes, of course, it's over with. You can't go after the president for crying out loud. But hang on, you can put these on hold. Just set them off to the side and wait till he comes out. And he's not wanting to do that. However, it's official now, y'all. That is right. It is absolutely official, and the corporate press is whinging. Check this out, y'all. Jack Smith pulls cases against Trump in latest sign, we live in hell. You gotta love these people because they don't understand the complexities of these cases. They haven't looked into them all that deeply. Obviously, they just take the corporate press narrative and run with that. Oh, Trump is Hitler. He tried to overthrow our government, so he's a bad man. We need to go after him. And now we're not going to get any accountability whatsoever. Justice does not prevail in this instance as far as they are concerned. However, you look a little bit deeper into these cases and you start to realize, yeah, there's not much here. This is a shaky case at best. At best. It's garbage at worst, right? Just outright garbage. That's what I think. I've dug deep into these cases, and I really don't see anything illegal on the part of Donald Trump. Now, you could say it was highly outside of the norm for what they did as far as the alternate slate of electors scheme or whatever, but, you know, when you look into all that, that has to be put together by the states. That can't be put together by the Trump campaign, for crying out loud. The president can't do that. That has to be a state operation. So it was a state operation. They weren't fake electors. They were alternate electors. And yes, there is precedent for alternate slates of electors being certified. As a matter of fact, 1960, Richard Nixon certified an alternate slate of electors from Democrats. He was a Republican. Yeah, it came from Hawaii, I believe, if my memory serves correct, which sometimes it doesn't. So if you want to look into that, look into that. But that's crazy, y'all. But let's get into this because they're whinging, y'all. They're whinging pretty bad. Special counsel Jack Smith on Monday moved to dismiss the charges against Donald Trump for both for trying to steal the 2020 election and for mishandling classified documents, meaning that for now Trump will almost certainly avoid consequences for his illegal actions while in office. You gotta love how they're whinging. Right, as if Joe Biden didn't steal classified documents for decades outright. For decades, when, as a matter of fact, he wasn't the president. We've talked about that at length. I find that very, very confusing as to why Joe Biden would come out and say, oh, I've got classified documents too. We found some classified documents. I'm going to go ahead and turn these in. He was the president. He most certainly had the right to declassify all of those documents that he had stolen over the past 4 decades. He could have just done that and boom. Didn't have to tell anybody. Didn't have to tell a single soul, right? But it looks much more suspicious now that he has, right? Because, you know, on its face, it appears that, oh, he's only doing this to make Trump look worse because Trump didn't want to turn over the documents. He was fighting with NARA to try to keep the documents because they were presidential records. And presidents take home presidential records, as a matter of fact. And they're trying to say he had nuclear secrets and all this other garbage. I'm sorry. That's outright lies, as a matter of fact, because they won't tell us what was in those classified documents. Why? Because technically they were still classified. Trump says he declassified them. However, you know, there should be a process for that. You can't just say you declassified some documents. However, the rules around declassifying documents does say that he can pretty much just say they're declassified. It does have to go through a process, which these documents didn't go through, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. However, getting back to Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden had these documents all over the place. But, you know, the corporate press and the mainstream news, they're not talking about that whatsoever. At all. Like, why did he come out with this? Like I was saying, on its surface, it just looks like he's trying to make Trump look bad. However, you dig a little bit deeper, you go thinking about this for a little bit. Okay, hang on. So he had these documents since the 70s, for crying out loud. Okay, so hang on. He was a senator at that point. So why did he have classified documents? Kind of makes you wonder about Hillary Clinton too, but Why did he have all these classified documents? That's interesting. He was stealing classified documents. It's like they're stupid. They don't think that people was going to think about this, right? Because once again, he could have declassified all those documents and it would have no longer been declassified, right? There's something deeper going on here, and I'm not sure exactly what it was with Joe Biden and his classified documents. But let's keep going. Smith cited an opinion written in 2000 from the Office of Legal Counsel that says sitting presidents cannot be indicted or prosecuted. However, Smith said he wants the cases dismissed without prejudice, which would mean these cases could resume once Trump is no longer president. His term expires in 2029. After careful consideration, the department has determined that OLC's prior opinions concerning the Constitution's prohibition on federal indictment and prosecuting a sitting president apply to this situation, and that, as a result, this prosecution must be dismissed before the defendant is inaugurated, Smith wrote. The prohibition is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, which the government stands fully behind. So, once again, Jack Smith is whinging in that if you didn't pick up on that. He's saying, we still think he's guilty, but we can't go after a sitting president. Come on, dude, get off your freaking high horse. You know these cases are outright garbage. Right? The judge in the documents case at least came to her senses and said, no, this is garbage. I'm dismissing this. And she did. And he was appealing that. That's the only reason that case still has any existence whatsoever. But all these other cases, once you look into them, like I said, the alternate slate of electors garbage. No, I'm sorry. That's not how that works. You can't just go after Donald Trump for this. And then the January 6th stuff, they're trying to say he incited a riot and blah, 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 obstruction of an official proceeding. He didn't even go to the Capitol, for crying out loud. He didn't go to the Capitol. Did not. It's absurd, y'all. Outright absurd. Based on the department's interpretation of the Constitution, the government moves for dismissal without prejudice of the superseding indictment under Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 48A. Trump faced two separate federal indictments. In one, he was charged with 4 counts of conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights for his efforts to steal the 2020 election. In the second, he was charged with 40 felony counts, including obstructing justice and making false statements. So, once again, speech, that whole indictment was garbage because, yeah, that's speech. You can't be indicted. It's not a crime to make false statements, right? That was one of the most absurd charges I saw in those indictments. Just absurd. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of those. Just, it's like nuts. It's like, what do we forget? We have the First Amendment, right? Just because he's the president doesn't mean he can't lie. Politicians lie, right? I talk about this all the time. Congress has super First Amendment rights, in case you don't know what that is. They can go on the House floor and say anything. They can make any claim they want to make about anybody doing anything, and they don't have to worry about getting sued for defamation or anything like that. They can yell fire in a crowded congressional room, right? They can do and say anything they want to, and they can't be held legally responsible for none of it. And that's what they often do. These people lie. They lie for a living. A lot of them do. In the classified documents case, Trump was charged along with 2 other defendants. Smith said the case against those 2 defendants, Will Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, will continue. However, Trump could pardon those 2 individuals as the case is in federal court. Legal experts say Trump's defense team is likely to ask for the cases to be dismissed with prejudice, which would allow Trump to avoid ever facing consequences in the cases. I imagine that's the route they're definitely going to go, Trump's team, but I imagine these cases will be dismissed without prejudice. or with prejudice. I'm sorry, because like I said, you go looking into all this, it's like, come on, this is garbage. It's outright garbage. Jack Smith specifically asked for a dismissal without prejudice, but I expect Trump's lawyers to fight for a dismissal with prejudice, which would prevent the charges from being reinstated after he leaves office. Former federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti wrote in a post on X. Still, the dismissal is a win for Trump now. For now, the American people re-elected Trump with an overwhelming mandate to make America great again, Trump Communications Director Stephen Chung said in a statement. Even though Trump did not win a mandate, today's decision by the DOJ ends the unconstitutional federal cases against President Trump and is a major victory for the rule of law. That is right. It sure is. The American people and President Trump want an immediate end to the political weaponization of our justice system, and we look forward to uniting our country. And that's what Donald Trump is swiftly going to do, y'all. My next video is talking about some of this, so make sure you guys smash that like button and stay tuned. Turn on your notifications, for crying out loud. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. I would greatly appreciate that. That would be awesome. As for the other cases Trump faces, he has yet to be sentenced in New York, where he was found guilty on 34 felony counts for falsifying business records to cover up hush money payments he made to a porn star during the 2016 campaign. Insane, y'all. Insane. That was an insane, just nutso case. Trump had been set to be sentenced in the case in September, but Judge Juan Merchan delayed it until November 26th after the election, which Trump unfortunately won. Whinging. I love to see these people whinge. Last week, Merchan adjourned that sentencing indefinitely, so that case is pretty much going to go bye-bye as well, so that Trump's defense team can file a motion to dismiss the case. He set the deadline for that motion for December 2nd. It's unclear that what Merchan will decide, but no matter what he does, Trump cannot pardon himself in that case since it took place in state court where he has no jurisdiction. Trump also faces felony charges in Georgia where he attempted to get the Secretary of State to find just the right number of votes to make him the winner of the state. Trump cannot pardon himself in the Georgia case either, as that is a state case. Sorry. These people are outright insane. If you listen to that phone call, what he's saying, he's talking about corruption and, illegal votes and all this other stuff. He's telling the governor basically to go and audit your election and you'll find a bunch of fraudulent votes, which maybe so, maybe not. That's what Trump was saying. He wasn't telling the guy to create ballots for Trump. That's not what he was saying, but that's what the left wing tries to tell everybody, and it's an outright lie. Listen to the freaking phone call. You can see he's saying, go through, audit your damn election and find these illegal votes because they're there. They had evidence. They had some evidence pointing to that direction, right? Because of what the Democrats did in 2020. Right? We know that, but come to find out, those wouldn't have been illegal votes. But he didn't know that at the time. Right? It's all absurd. Just outright. Ultimately, as Daily Kos wrote just after Trump won, his re-election was likely to end his legal troubles. In all these cases, Trump's main strategy was to run out the clock and hope to get re-elected. His re-election keeps him out of jail and may even keep more money in his pocket. These people are insane, y'all. And in the end, as with seemingly everything around him, Trump will suffer no consequences. How utterly depressing. You gotta love the depression coming from these people. They are just livid with the American people. They're trying to blame the voters. Yeah, you hear these left-wing pundits all over the place blaming the voters for Kamala Harris losing the election. It's insane. It's absurd. And it's fun to watch. And I'm loving it. Loving every single bit of it, y'all. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure enjoying the hell out of this. And I can't wait to see what the Trump administration is going to do to get us back on track, to get spending under control, to get this country back where it needs to be, to get the leftist insanity out of our government, right? Hey, we've got the First Amendment. You're free to express yourself. If you want to go insane, you can go insane. This is a free country. I have no problem with anybody doing this. Don't try to force your garbage ideology onto me. I don't want it. And don't try to force the government to force everybody into your stupid ideology. We don't want this garbage. And the American people spoke. We would rather put in a convicted felon, which... yeah, you can't even say that anymore. Sure, he got convicted in that case, but legally, he's not a convicted felon until he gets sentenced. So he's out from underneath that as well. You gotta love this, man. You have got to love this. This is, once again, with all the legal troubles Donald Trump has, or had, I should say, had. You would think that some of it would stick, right? Some of it would stick. Not even the one that stuck is sticking. His sentencing is being delayed indefinitely. I wonder how that's going to turn out. That's probably going to turn out to be dismissed as well. You've got several due process violations in that case. Several. Not to mention the jury instructions, which were absurd on its face. Right? You want to go after him for the misdemeanor? Right? Make up a law that says you can go after somebody, after the statute of limitations runs out. Make that up, because that's what you're having to deal with. Don't elevate a misdemeanor to a felony on garbage, on BS. They give the jury multiple choice that they don't even have to agree on. That's just absurd on its face. It's ridiculous that they came back with a guilty verdict. I was shocked. Like, everything with that case was shocking. Just outright. But these people are insane. I'm rambling at this point. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay logical. Peace.